Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abby, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. I have Logan and Jordan with me as always. So let's get it started. Logan, what'd you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I got killed by a biting blade. We've been very diligently trying to run WTR drafts because, you know, we got some stuff coming up to do with WTR drafting. And one of the local players who is actually fairly new to the game, but has kind of picked up into Warrior. And Dory's supposed to be the weaker draft class for this set. And I got super greedy and was playing around Steelblade Shunt and was playing around other things. And so I'm at like 6 and he cracks in with a 5-ball. And I'm like, I'll just block 2 of this and everything will be fine. And then he's like, okay, biting blade. And since you blocked, it has reprise. Take 7. And I'm like, yeah. Well,
hey.
I really should have thought that through because I could have just kept pounding with an Anathos over and over and over again, and you could never win, and I could have just blocked my whole hand and kept a blue. But you know what? I didn't, and I deserve to die. So
yeah, that is just greedy.
Yeah. So in our 2 drafts that we've run so far, we have had the 2 3-0 decks have been Dory, both of them. So we're about to retake stock on Dory's viability and Welcome to Wraith draft. If she just puts up a result again in our test, it's gonna be like, oh god, maybe we just need to shift our entire priority here.
That's really interesting. I think the idea that you guys are even testing this like quote dead draft format in lieu, like in anticipation of these events, is very exciting. Like that's very fun to follow.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been and these drafts are fun. Like we have only had like 4 and 5 player drafts, so the tables are a little awkward, but it actually gives you a nice little spacing out of the heroes. And in this one we had 2 Reinars, and then a Katsu, a Bravo, and a Dory. Reinar's a trap, I think. And Katsu's very good. Bravo still probably feels like the best pick if the cards are coming to you, but Dory is way stronger than I thought. Turns out pump effects to blow your opponent out with reprise are just good.
Hey, pick that card up and put it back in your hand. You're dead now.
Yep, got him.
That's awesome.
Jordan, what about you?
Well, I don't think... Did we play Flesh and Blood this week, Abby? I think we played 1 game on New Year.
We played 1 game.
Played a game on New Year. Yeah, we played Ninja versus
Briar.
Yeah, I really enjoy Ninja.
Full disclosure, Jordan won, so he is now X and 2 lifetime.
With Katsu?
Against
Briar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won with Katsu. Yeah, I had a pretty sick 6-card hand that ended up in like the full combo.
Oh, so you got to release?
I did. It wasn't even that good of a release, but like I got to release. Oh, stop!
Jesus Christ!
We're already
Oh
a fat
God.
cast, and you're just gonna. I mean, come on, man.
The fappers are gonna have a heyday with that in Discord.
They sure are, Mr. Hat. That's gonna be a thing.
God damn it!
Why would you do that?
I wish your release was a little bit better. But at least it was a release.
Well, I got to do. I don't know what the final payoff. The blue, the 3-0.
Yeah, the money shot.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that guy. I got to do that guy and draw a card.
Lord of Wind? That one?
Yeah. I got to do something else after him.
Oh.
Because I had I had cracked the boots.
Mm.
So it was a really disgusting turn.
Yeah, that sounds pretty great.
Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, like, and we play a lot of Briar, her and I, back and forth. So it was fun to play Katsu. And I think the next event I go to, I am going to play Katsu because I got my helm in the mail today, actually.
So well, there you go.
Yeah. There we go.
So
it was honestly probably one of the best games that Jordan and I have played. We didn't really have any spots where we wanted to like take back or like. It was like, oh, we did this, and then it's like, oh, I should have done this a different way. Like, it felt very good, other than the fact that I lost. But
it's a clean game.
That is whatever. But yeah, it was nice. And for our avid listeners, I have played now, so that streak is over.
You've played
So
Oh, wow.
2022, new year, new me. I've played
Oh,
Flesh
boy.
and Blood.
Since we have started the podcast, you've played a game. That's great.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, Abby has already decided that 2022 is the year that she's going to dial up the sass and just really keep Jordan and I in line.
Exactly. It's basically the same as every year, but
Right.
it's fine. So we got some pretty big news this week. Star City Games has announced that their SCG cons will have multiple cities, and they're going to include Flesh and Blood main events. So we've got 3 so far. SCG Con in Philly in February, in Indianapolis in March, and in Dallas in April.
So
Those
I
are
want
just bangers.
Yeah, I want people to understand, especially people who are new to card games and competitive card games in general. And I want them to understand how huge this is, because SCG has been the standard bearer for non-WotC Magic tournaments for a decade or more. And they run probably the best shows, the best events that you can imagine. Everything runs like clockwork. Everything is really dialed into a T, and this kind of, I guess, stroke, because since we're already talking about that anyway, to go behind an event is monumentally good. They did have a ProQuest at the last SCG Con, but the fact that they're just bringing it back and bringing it in multiples to multiple cities, these are going to feel a lot like callings. These are going to feel like they are destination events, and they'll probably be firing sides and everything else too. I couldn't be more excited, because this is as close to an actual LSS organized play announcement that we've gotten, and I am already booking hotels. Like this is monumentally good for the game as a whole, in my opinion.
Yeah, you really can't overstate this. I mean, depending on who you talk to, Star City Games potentially saved competitive Magic back in the day. So, like, competitive Magic is dead now, as we see here in 2022. But, like, the 2010s era, Star City very well, like, saved paper Magic in its own right as well. And I mean, in-person play, no one does it better. And I don't say that just besmirch like Channel Fireball, who runs the callings in the US, but like Star City is the flag bearer for how to run paper events. And I mean, all of these are great if you're a Midwest kid. Dallas is kind of like whatever, but for like the Columbus crew, Philadelphia and Indianapolis are bangers. I know Philly's a bit of a stretch for you, Logan, but
I mean, I have Delta flight credits. It's not the end of the world.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, like I think Philly is like 8.5 for us, so that might be a flight as well.
God, I hope so.
The one question remaining, obviously, is Omicron variant, and does that impact whether these events are A, safe to go to, or B, like even existing, depending on what the individual cities do with their restrictions and stuff like that.
I do believe, and if anybody's listening can correct me on this, the last SCG Con that they had did have a vaccination requirement and mask requirement. So, and from what I understood, that wasn't in the time of the Omicron, which sounds like a transformer, but it felt like a very safe event for the people that were there, to my understanding. I wasn't there personally, because I didn't want to go to Roanoke, but
yeah,
and it was Magic, and the Flesh and Blood events for that con were announced like 2 weeks before the event was to be held, and so it was just like, well, thanks. I guess you tacked this on for some reason and didn't give us any time.
You didn't want to go to the dumpster fire that is Roanoke, Virginia?
No, I'd much rather go to the dumpster fire that is Richmond, because the food's better. But neither here nor there.
That's actually a bit true. To your question about their procedures, it looks like you have to wear a mask inside the event hall. It's in the article that we'll link, and you have to have either proof of being fully vaccinated or a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of the event day. I don't know. So I'm fully vaxxed, so I don't know about the negative COVID test bit. If like you're going to be there Friday to Sunday, do you need to have a test Thursday to cover Sunday? Or like, is your test from Tuesday good because that'll cover your Friday? You know what I mean? Is that like, does that make sense? Like, do you need a test for the specific day or for the event?
I think it's
never applied
rolling.
to me, so.
I think it's rolling because you get a wristband for every day that you're at the event.
Gotcha. Okay, so you will need a test on Thursday, as soon as Thursday, to be able to play on Sunday. That makes sense. I believe
that's true, but we can always reach out to Star City and get clarification. But that's from my understanding how it was before.
That sounds intuitive to me too. Like they actually have a question, a little link, so I'm going to shoot them an email and ask them about that.
And I'm same as you. I've got I took a double of Moderna with a Pfizer chaser. And,
okay.
And also randomly had COVID while I was in Vegas, which was the worst because I just spent 7 days in Vegas in a hotel room. That hot tub got a lot of use, but had a hot tub in the hotel room, folks. I was not going into the public hot tub and just spreading the vid. Like I would like
I thought that was obvious.
Issue a clarifying statement there. And honestly, so it's. I think that at this point, people know the precautions. People will probably know the risks, and I think that from what I read, the Omicron spike is supposed to be at its worst at the end of this month. But I guess I'm not 100% sure on that either. So
yeah, that's going to be as we develop thing. I would like to be able to hit all of these, but obviously make the decision that's best for you and your risk tolerance and all of that. But regardless, we're going to cover it. So
yeah, I heard bourbon burns it away. So for what take that for what it's worth. I have
or a 3-knuckle of I think a 3-knuckle of Pfizer also does it.
A 3-knuckle of Pfizer, probably.
Yeah, a 3-finger Pfizer, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was actually thinking that a Pfizer enema because you're going 3 knuckles, but if you want to just do 3 fingers instead, that's fine.
Okay, moving on.
You're the one that said a 3-knuckler. It wasn't me.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, that's fair.
Exactly. All right. Jordan has some things to speak about.
Oh, yeah.
Correction corner.
Yeah, I lie a lot or am wrong a lot, as avid fappers will know. I talked last week about LGS prize structure and prize packs and whether $5 to play in an event that only had the armory kit as payout is like worth it. And I think I didn't come at that at the angle that I wish I would have, and maybe disparaged like the efforts that like local game stores do put into events and didn't factor that into like my value analysis. So I am kind of changing my tune a little bit and admitting that like my perspective wasn't completely clear, and that $5 is basically free to have a tournament ran for you, to be able to go to an LGS that has someone running the software and someone taking care of things and making an environment and establishing a community. Like that is well worth it. I'm lucky to be in Columbus where we have like 3 to 4 premium stores that like have banger events that make me feel as safe as reasonable in the COVID world, and have staff and communities that are kind and welcoming. So I know what I said last week wasn't that. And I wanted to say, hey, quick, I was wrong about that. If you have a store that offers price support, dope. Like a price support on top of Armory is dope, but you are already getting more than enough value for your $5 if it's just an Armory kit. I was factoring a lot of other things in. I obviously still, in talking to people this week, realize that some people will now disagree with new me, but that's my perspective now, at least for events locally. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Jordan,
I disagree.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, here's to change.
Yeah. I have some friends that, on both sides of that aisle that I laid out, and I definitely don't think any perspective is wrong. I think it just comes down to the community and like your locale and wherever, like I drive 10 minutes to the store and play in an event for 5 hours for $5. That's insane. So my perspective is different. I'm excited to keep playing in Flesh and Blood 2022, and community builders are dope.
I just want everyone to know that I disagree with Jordan often, so do not feel bad if you do.
I mean, yeah. He lies a lot.
It's actually highly encouraged.
I don't agree.
Of course you don't.
Disagreeing with me is usually the way to be the most wrong, but this time there's an exception to every rule, I suppose.
That's the attorney in him talking.
Oh, God. So our Reddit thread this week is from Kozar Lord. Sorry if I say that wrong to anyone's username because I'm
New York.
bad at speaking. So quick overview of it. The poster has gotten 3 boxes from Tales of Aria so far and hasn't gotten any legendaries. Obviously, we know that legendaries aren't guaranteed, but definitely kind of feels bad if you've gotten 3 and you don't really have anything to show for it. But much like me, they have a hard time justifying the cost of what you would spend on a legendary card when you can buy so much more with it. So the question is what is the best way to get your cards? Is it going to boxes, or is it just saving the money and buying the card outright?
So I picked this thread up because it got a good amount of traction on the Flesh and Blood TCG Reddit, and there is a lot of like good back and forth in different opinions, and my take is always going to be, mathematically speaking, it is better to buy your single. But I am also a DGen that likes to crack boxes. So if you're in this position, like my answer to the post was, if you're in the position where you have a hard time justifying the cost, I think trading is your game. Like trading some of those mystics up or majestics up into legendaries is probably the correct angle. If that's the situation you find yourself in. But I didn't know what your thought would be, Logan.
Largely agree. The economic value in it is always buy singles, right? Because you can spend, as this user did, $200+ on boxes and get no legendaries, and then the boxes are not worth what you paid for them. My personal philosophy in doing this is to buy cases. I have yet, and I understand that I am scum lucky opening cards in this game, but I have yet to be blanked opening a case as far as no legendaries. And out of all the cases I've opened 4 Fableds. So basically it's giving, if you're going to do that, if you're going to be a DGen like I am and like Jordan is, and even Abby loves the sound of a pack cracking.
Abby is a cracking pack monster.
She's a crackhead. Yeah, it's
a problem.
And so it turns into the best way, if you are that person, which all 3 of us are, the best method to try to extract value is to do cases. Now, there was a poster in that Reddit thread, which is weird that I actually read the Reddit thread for once, that did actually point that out, where they buy cases to make sure that they have playsets of everything else.
Yep.
And then can fill in the holes with what they have, with the extra. And I think for us degens and fiends, that's the best way to go. That economically speaking, it's always better for your money to buy cards in a targeted fashion.
Yeah, I think that's just right. It also comes down to what your objective is too. There's a lot of that. Like, I am also buy a bunch of cases so that you can like complete playsets. But if you're a Katsu player and you play Katsu, and like it's gonna take like a literal comet coming to Earth to blow us all up for you to not play Katsu, just buy the helm, man. Buy the ninja helm, and you'll feel really good once you have it and you be done. But I think most people in this game like playing a little bit of variety. Maybe you like splashing a different class or different hero. In that case, I like the idea of just like completing play sets.
Yeah, I'm in the position where I want to be able to build anything I want to build. And sitting on my desk right now is Kano, Bravo, Katsu, Prism, Briar, Lexi, and Olden are the 7 I just have built sitting on my desk.
Are you have multiple play sets of like Staples guy, or are you like how many Enlightened Strikes do you own?
5.
Okay, was that as a result of cracking, or did you purchase?
No,
I
targeted.
guess you would have bought the 6th, right? If you bought, yeah.
Yeah, I opened 3, bought 2, because I wanted I wanted to make sure I had 2 for Blitz, 3 for CC.
Oh, just to not have to shuffle them.
Yeah, the way I determined that is I actually opened 5 Art of Wars, and found it a lot easier to be able to have 3 and 2.
Sure,
I have held off on getting my Command and Conquers that way. My last 2 Command and Conquers for having 5 until Everfest releases, but as soon as it does, hopefully there's a reprint there and I don't get blown out. But I'd love to have just, especially if it's a different art, so I have differentiating arts. But it's I like to have 5 of things just so I don't have to move them back and forth as much, because I'm a lazy pile.
Sub $5, I want to get like 6 copies of stuff. Above that, it really depends on if Abby ever gets bit by the constructed bug or not.
I can't do it.
Dude, it was so funny on New Year's when we were playing her shuffling, man. Oh my god, I can't do it. Of all of you fappers.
Oh my god, why did you have to bring that up while I was taking a drink? I almost spit all over my keyboard.
It was so funny. She like almost dropped them, and I was like, it's just
okay. So listen, Jordan tells me that he's bringing decks. We're taking decks to my parents' house because we were going to be there for the weekend.
Yeah,
and so I am under the assumption that Jordan is bringing Blitz decks because he knows I cannot play Classic Constructed. So then he gets them out, and I'm like, oh, so what Blitz decks do we have? And he goes, oh, they're all Classic Construction. And I go, are you going to shuffle my deck? And then he wouldn't, and then it was a whole ordeal.
I mean,
it's very clear. I cannot play it.
I don't feel bad about it.
I mean, if you have Carney hands, it's probably difficult to shuffle. I get it. Does he double sleeve them too, just to be the complete dick about it?
They are singled. They're singled.
Okay. Well, at least
only our equipment is double sleeved, but
they are in the best sleeves ever. I'm obsessed with them.
Katanas is my answer to that question. So
no, the best sleeves are what's the color, Jordan?
Dragon Shield Matte Eucalyptus.
Yes, Matte Eucalyptus. Oh my god,
they're double matted, and they have the black.
They are the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
The window is black on the back side of the.
Yep,
backside of the color or whatever. It's great.
Randomly at
Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, we were at the calling in Cincinnati, and I was like, well, we're getting these cards, we might as well get sleeves. And I picked like that and 2 other colors because I was just like, whatever, we'll have different colors for each hero. No, I will buy cases of that stuff when you can, because you can't right now because everybody's obsessed with them. They're so beautiful.
I might have an answer for that.
If you're going to pull up the Case of Sleeves website that you can buy from, they are sold out.
Hold on. These are Dragon Shields? Dragon Shields, you said?
Dragon Shield Eucalyptus.
All right. Sleeve, standard size, Dragon Shield. These are mats?
I believe so.
Yes.
All right. Well, green, matte, black, blue, clear, ivory, jet line.
Power of radio, everybody.
Yeah, I know, right? Give me some time on this because I have a couple of different places that I can buy bulk sleeves from that I might be able to find them for you.
Yeah, if you can dredge them up, that'd be great. I would buy a case today. So
yeah,
I would buy an actual case. I'm not even talking to a display pack. I would buy an actual case.
Yeah, so, I think that I have katanas are my thing. The only thing I don't like about them is that the cut on them is not consistent between cases.
Yep, that's the problem. That was my biggest gripe.
They shuffle awesome. They feel like they're indestructible, but you have to switch sleeves a lot, even if they're the same color, which drives me nuts.
This is a sleeve podcast.
Well, I mean, it's part of the game. Your stuff.
Dude, it's actually one of those really fun nerd things where like you could talk about sleeves, like all day, and have opinions. Yeah. Back when was it Hypermat was was a premium brand? That was the debate. Are you Dragon Shield or are you a Hypermat guy? You know,
and like people realized you get like 3 events out of a Hypermat, and then there's Ding to Hell and Dirty as Hell, and so you can't actually play them anymore because they're marked after no time at all.
All of your staples are marked. It's gross.
Yep.
But
right.
that's the legendary equipment Reddit thread.
That was quick.
That was quick. I am honestly surprised. All right, so on to listener questions. Our first one is from Griddlemaster. What do you think of different structured prizes? Maybe have a prize for like whoever dealt the most damage on one attack or one turn, or if you don't ever use your weapon, or like random kind of one-off things like that. Jordan, you want to start? Huh? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I would ever play for this, but I think it is a cool option for people to have. Like Fab can like have promos geared towards this, right?
Yeah.
Like or like the playmat goes to the person that maybe it's their first, like maybe the playmat goes to the, hey, it's your first event, you get the playmat, right? Or the newest person or whatever, or like you did the most damage, or none of your katanas ever got blocked or something. I don't know what the prop would be, right? But like yeah, I don't think I would ever go for this, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I had a couple of things with this. First off, I think that this type of structure caters more to casual players, and at this point in Flesh and Blood, it doesn't feel like it's a game geared toward casual play. That being said, that doesn't mean it won't be, and it shouldn't be, because it probably should. The other thing is this: there is definitely precedent for this within Magic, because during pre-releases specifically, you'd have things like during the Mirrodin Besiege pre-release or whatever, or New Phyrexia pre-release, you'd pick either Mirrodin or New Phyrexia. You pick you pick whichever side you wanted to play, and whichever team won at the end of it wound up getting something. And they did various things where, like in Dragon's Maze, you had to complete the tasks, and that unlocked something. So it's been done, and I think that's doable in this too. And you can do specific promos, specific packs. I mean, you can do a lot of different things with this, but I think that step one is broadening some of the appeal of the game, because it does, to me at least, feel clearly geared towards a more competitive base who aren't going to care as much about the kind of achievement-oriented things.
I wonder if this is a good structure for like ultimate pit fights at like larger events, like how like at Grand Prix for Commander, everybody like entered 2 packs and it was like the prize pool or whatever, and then your pack went to whoever one pack went to whoever eliminated you, and then one pack went to whoever you felt like contributed best to the game or whatever.
And this is why we're friends, because every now and again you'll make me feel stupid, because that's just perfect. Like I
have bangers all day. All you have to do is ask.
I have no notes. That is that's just wonderful. Like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wonder, this has room for abuse, so I'm going to say this hesitantly, but like if your tournament organizer could give like a rookie of the year type of promo, like, hey, these promos are specifically designed for new player. They're staples, like they're designed for people that come in and are new to the game and brought a deck and tried, and maybe went over, but like, God damn it, they were a good time, and you should get something for being here, and that's what these promos are for, specifically for. I know that like the armory kits have things that aren't record based, but like some kind of like tournament organizer discretion, like Game Ball Award, there's kind of tons of cool space with that. I don't know how you bridge that into new players that would be about it, but I think we're onto something.
Yeah, I think that's something to put a pin into, because that could end up being an LSS Are You Listening type of thing as we flesh that out. That just sounds, again, it just sounds almost too easy. It sounds perfect for what the type of casual draw people in event we're talking about, right?
Yep. It's going to take a little bit of time for Fab to get into the lexicon of card players to like recognize that there is this casual base, especially when we have threads like, hey, how do you get legendary equipment? Legendaries are $200. Yikes, that's hard to get into as a casual. So there is this kind of like grind with getting new players involved. And I guess that's a lot like our next question, Ab. Do you think that's kind of a good segue?
Well, I guess it is now.
Segways are not just scooters. We can move on.
Well, I mean, if we're ready, I think this is like a Sleeper Jackal's question. It's like very good for this.
Unless Abby has anything to add on that one, it is a good way to bridge because they do fit together.
Well, then let's bridge right on away. Question number 2 is from Sleeper Jackal, and it's what's a good way to showcase the game / revitalize the store's scene? They've been seeing attendance waning. Could be holidays, could be not, but kind of, how do you get that back going up and in the direction we want to see it?
And yeah, I think finding some kind of way to get new people involved is like really important, man. Like I'm in this game, for the events that I go to, you can count me as a +1 on the attendance sheet. I know same for Logan, and like in your community, you basically if there's a weekly event, you're a guaranteed +1, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If something ever came up that made us quit, you're guaranteed -1, right? And a lot of these communities aren't like actually growing in so much as they are just like retaining their players. I don't think that's true for Columbus specifically, but Sleeper Jackal says this. I've read this about other places. I think it's tough right now because again, the world has gone to shit. There is a black plague killing literally everybody, and we did just get out of the holidays. So across the board, it makes sense that attendance would be down and you'd be having a hard time growing people into playing a game that is literally a petri dish for COVID-19.
Well, I mean, all games, but yeah.
Yeah, we're right. Like literally anything where you have to touch each other's stuff or be within 5 feet of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like these kind of like casual events like Ultimate Pit Fight or maybe like constructed or like demo deck only events or like whatever can be some really fun ways to get like new players that are just in your game store that day to try it out. Like, hey, we have this cool game. Do you want to play it? A lot of that comes down to culture and how you facilitate that.
Absolutely. And economically, again, speaking from somebody who works as a vendor in the vendor space for a card game, when we're having an event, we're buying and selling cards, our format staples of competitive are not what are selling. It's all the casual stuff. The biggest growth area for games in general is the casual space. You get people that want to play kitchen table, then they want to branch out to find a bigger group of people that are like-minded that still play at the same kind of loose pace with, not a lot of rules lawyering type things happening where they can just kind of kick back, play, have fun, do silly things and laugh about it with new people or friends or whatever. That is the bread and butter for a game existing and continuing to exist and broadening, because a lot of times it doesn't need to be huge, but there is a conversion rate between casual players to competitive players. But in the long run, it's those casual players that are going to buy. They're the people that are most of the time wanting to crack the packs. It doesn't mean that we're filthy casuals, although we are at heart. But
1000%, I have no qualms about admitting that.
That's fair. But there's, how many times is it just fun to just like crack a beer, sit down, play some games, right? And that's how to draw people in, is to have that casual aspect available to people so it doesn't feel like the game is as gate-kept as they think it is. And honestly, I learned Magic by understanding that if you fire blasted somebody with 2 Furnace of Wrath out, everybody dies. So, and we did that at kitchen tables. And then from there it was like, I wonder if we can do this elsewhere. So yeah, let it grow through that. Let people have a casual outlet for this game, because honestly, mechanically, this game's incredible. And if people grasp it in a casual way, they're going to potentially convert. And if they don't, that's fine. Your sales are still going to be great. You're still going to have people coming into your shops. You're still going to have events happen where people walk in and go, drafting. I want to try that. And that's the most organic way to grow these games, in my opinion.
I definitely think the casual thing is the angle. I don't want to belabor your point, but just think of like Pokemon, right? People crack Pokemon packs because it's fun. And some of those guys end up becoming players. So I think you're onto it.
1,000%. I like this game. I like cracking packs more, though. I mean, it is the best part. I love it. I can do it for hours.
That's why Limited's the best format, man. You just get to crack packs for value.
The number of times that I load up like a draft on Moto, which is Magic Online for people that don't know the slang, a game I barely even play anymore, just to draft and then maybe play a match and then drop if I think my deck sucks, is infinite. Just like spewing value, and I don't care because I got to draft.
It's the best, for sure. All right. Question number 3. This is from Chuck and Lee. What heroes do you think are 1 or 2 cards away from being meta dominant, or could dethrone Briar at the very least? And what cards do they need? Do you think we get those kind of cards in Everfest? And what is it going to take for somebody to take the number 1 spot?
I don't have an opinion, Logan, on the heroes that could dethrone Briar or be meta, or 1 or 2 cards from being meta dominant. But I do hope that whoever it is gets it in Everfest, because their decision to not ban and restrict was largely dependent on Everfest and upcoming events. So and those upcoming events aren't happening anymore before the next ban and restricted announcement. So I hope they get it in Everfest.
Yeah, it's
it would
pretty
be
simple.
Be a pretty big oof if they didn't, I guess.
Yeah, just unban Seeds of Agony and we're there.
Stop it.
I mean,
actually, that would be fine just from a player perspective. Could you imagine buying the Chain Blitz deck and like going to your local event, like, I have a Blitz deck, and then being like, oh, you're just
smashing somebody?
Yeah. You walk in day 1, you're the champion, you're like, whoa, this is the best game ever.
Yeah, well, like that's if don't get disqualified for having illegal cards in your deck.
But I don't. There's probably some space here. So like seems like every class has this glaring weakness except for the goddamn Rune Blades, because they just seem to always do things that break the game to a degree. And it seems to me, as an example, Ranger. The problem with Ranger is and will always be that they don't have a weapon that attacks. They just sans weapon. And then they end up in a spot where they can only keep 1 card in their hand. They can't do anything with it because they can't pitch it to use their weapon. So kind of done for. So that's something that, would improve Ranger to be at least a little bit more competitive. Even if it's just poking for 1. I think we've discussed that on the podcast before, where it's like, give him a crossbow with like, that looks like a shotgun butt, and then give him a butt stroke for 1, just like get him in the face. And then, like Brute. Give Brute, and not Shadow Brute, Levia, you're in my thoughts and prayers, but give Brute some relevant armor. Give him a headpiece, because headpiece is just Arcanite Spellcap across the board. That is 4 armor that does a thing, that it gives them a little bit of extra game to not die when they don't want to block with any of their cards. Prism, I don't know if you want to improve Prism, because that always just feels like it's going to be the next abused deck if they give it anything too good. So it's hard there. Same thing with Kano. Like, Kano always feels like it's 1 step away from being, okay, we made a mistake. So I mean, there's going to be some real careful balance here that has to be done. But I think your best spots to work within are probably Ranger, Brute, and maybe to a degree Warrior, because if you gave Warrior, again, just something relevant to block with, where they didn't have to burn cards from their hand, the crackbacks from Warrior could be real enough to make even Briar hesitate. Because some of those pumped attacks for 12 or 13 that's a lot.
Yeah, Warrior can really get those weapons going, so
they can. But think if they just were able to block for 3 once or 4 once, and kind of have a turn where they got to keep all their cards without taking monumental amounts of damage. That's kind of where we're at right now. Is that there's no real good way for a lot of classes to mitigate the sheer outpouring of damage from like a Briar deck without losing cards from their hand and having a barely functional turn. So that's that's kind of the corner turn that you need. Briar doesn't care about equipment. Like, whatever. We have a tunic that can block in an emergency. We have a skull cap because I don't want to block anyway. And that's it. Like, so in my mind, it's going to be in the legendary slot that's going to make the most movement. Or maybe majestic.
I think 1,000 people just cried out, hoping that it's majestic.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to make wallets bleed, but that's possible.
I'll defer to you on that one. I think that makes a lot of sense. And
I'm sure that somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong in the Discord, and I can't wait. I'm here for it.
1,000%. 1,000%. All right, so our fourth question is also from Griddlemaster. Shout out to them for keeping them coming in the Discord. What do you think the next type of Fable will be in Everfest and beyond? Do we see more gems and locations, or like a fabled weapon? What's it going to be?
I really hope it's not a fabled weapon.
No, please no.
Yeah, only because I like the fact that fables don't feel required even in the slightest, and that they're very niche. But if you print a fabled weapon, my guess is that if it's generic, it's going to be busted in $1 billion. If it's a class weapon, it's going to be required for the class and be $1 billion. Just give me cute utility stuff and locations. Continue to make it like a cool collectible item that doesn't have much impact on gameplay. Please do not give me like a mega staple in the fabled slot.
Can
I tell you guys a secret?
I like secrets.
I only know one of the fabled cards in this game. The trees. That's the only one I know. I don't know any of the other ones. No, I just know what it looks like.
To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if most people know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I know the gym very well because it's like a very good cube card. It's very good, just like it's honestly a good card.
You're talking about Eye of Ophidia, right?
Yes, yeah. The blue is it a blue gym or a green gym?
Blue.
I can't remember. Blue.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, like none of them even feel remotely required, or like remotely you need to know. So,
Library of Solana would like to have a conversation with you, but that's one of the cornerstones of Prism being able to turn the corner in bad matchups.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Do you know, Abby? Do you know what Library of Solana does?
No.
It costs 2, and at the end of your turn, if you have 2 yellow strips in your pitch zone, you get to draw an extra card. And it just sits there until somebody discards 2 yellows to get rid of it. No decks play yellows.
Yeah, which could obviously be the rest of the turn.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you land it on turn 1 or 2, and the rest of the game you just have 5-card hands.
The best part is even if they were to discard, it's just a 2-for-1.
Yep.
Like even if they did just activate the ability, and it's also an action, isn't it? Like, isn't it like that player's action?
Yep.
Yeah, like it's gross.
I believe it has. I'd have to double check, but it might. It doesn't have.
It has go again.
Well, the other part of that is if there's a yellow in the pitch zone, it largely will not matter because Luminaris's ability or Prism's ability, one of the two, will give the illusionist attacks go again. So you can just play that for
like if thing. On my turn I wanted to go ahead and activate that ability to destroy your library.
Oh, sure.
I forgot that I had go again because I was like, "Holy shit! Could you imagine having to take a whole turn to do that?" But
right,
people are better at making games than I am. So
yeah, but they're also ditching 2 cards, which whatever.
Yeah, like also gas, right? Like,
we just got you to discard 2 cards to deal with my 1. That's a 2-for-1, and if it ever sat out there, it's way better than a 2-for-1.
Right? Yeah, and if it ever drew a card, then we're way ahead. Yeah. So I guess that's definitely fair. But
and then Eye of Ophidia is a staple in Kano because it opts. It pitches to activate Kano and also opts. So where you want to control the top of your deck as hard as possible, it does that and does the thing you need to do. So it's also Eye of Ophidia is a staple in Kano, but those are really the only 2.
Is that the peak power level that you would like to see for these? I think that like the fact that most players can go and not. I mean, you pull up a deck list on FabDB or pull up like a Nationals winning list, and there's not going to be one in there. You know what I mean?
The Calling in Vegas definitely had a library in it, and the winner of Italian Nationals definitely had an Eye of Ophidia in it.
No, but it's by no means ubiquitous.
No,
right?
it's no, certainly not.
Like, and that's more my broader point is that like you can copy very strong deck lists and they don't have these
and remove or just copy that deck list and replace that card. It's 1 in 60 to 70 cards, right? Like you're not leaning on it.
Right. In the classes that we mentioned, by no means do they feel like required to play those. You know, like Ninja, like Katsu needs the helm, right? Like,
yeah, Mask of Momentum is super important.
Is like very required for Katsu. I do not think Eye of Ophidia and Library have the same effect on the decks that they go in.
Right, because it doesn't necessarily change your opponent's play patterns. Library can
or enable or disable your strategy, right?
Right. The odds of your opponent ever having 2 yellows to blow up Library are actually kind of low, because decks don't play a lot of yellows,
right,
outside of Prism. So the odds of them being able to blow up your library are pretty low, and so they just kind of have to accept it and move on. I think that I would like to see like just the this to be another location. The location just be Everfest, Carnival of the Seasons, or whatever.
A carnival spot would be neat.
Yeah, and just do something interesting. Like there are a bunch of different modes where you can pitch to activate them or something that do something fun, kind of PvE-ish would be nice. So it doesn't feel like you have to have them. And any player can activate. Yeah.
Did you know that there are 2 products for Q1 of 2022?
There is a PvE product
it's almost guaranteed to be a PvE product, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's literally question mark on the thing. It doesn't even say a set. It's guaranteed it's going to be like a co-op pack, which is going to be
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Excited. Anyway, that's not the point, but I think we agree that I do not want this to be a Mask of Momentum level of rarity.
Yeah, please.
I hope that it's like a carnival. A carnival would be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
All right. And then our last question is from Dagan, and it's what are some of your fab New Year's resolutions, personal goals for the game and the podcast? Jordan, you want to start on that?
Yeah. It's funny because I do every year since I've been 18 or whatever, I set out goals for the upcoming year. I don't call them resolutions because I feel like that's cheesy or whatever, but I do set out personal goals for the year. And last year I hit most of mine. And I laid out a bunch of personal ones for this year. One of my personal goals for this year was to deep cache a calling. So I guess that kind of fits right into the Fab News resolutions. Card games have been a large part of my life, and doing well at them is not as big a part of my identity as it used to be, but it still is a thing that I like about myself. So I guess deep caching a calling would be a goal. I'm not familiar or comfortable enough with this game to say win a PTQ or something like that. But deep cache a calling, maybe qualify for nationals, I think would be definitely a goal for this game. In terms of the podcast, Diggin asked about podcast goals. I think it's just to keep doing it, man. We're 5 weeks into this bad boy. I enjoy it. I enjoy meeting the people that come into the Discord and talk. I think my life's better for it, and I'm excited about getting to do this in the future and kind of developing this project as well.
Logan, what about you?
I don't make New Year's resolutions mainly because anytime that I try to plan something, it all backfires. See, having COVID in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I tend to just try to play everything by ear, and do the best I can with what I've got. If anybody, really wants to, I think the mindset of, and this, sports fans will know this one, but Giannis Antetokounmpo has, where he discusses how, the past is your ego, the future is your pride, the now is your humility. And I think it's to stay there and always live within kind of what you're doing with this game and the community, and try to just be the best version of whatever I am in the community that I can be. And that kind of goes with the podcast too, where I and I don't think I can overstate this. Our listeners are dope. They are
Fappers of the year, to be honest.
Yeah, Fappers of the millennia. These are quality hands that we're working with. But honestly, they're no one, you myself, Abby, any of us really thought that we would have any kind of following after 4 episodes. Now we're recording our 5th, and we do. That's crazy to me. And the fact that people want to listen to us, and I just want to keep doing whatever it is I can do to be worth listening to or worth engaging with, and making the community, at the very least, more entertaining, but would also like to make it an environment where we can get people going and welcome people in and really just have a positive impact across the board for what we're doing. And honestly, I cannot wait to be at these larger events and have people come up and be like, "Hey, are you?" And then be able to say, "Yep," and them just to say, "Hey, I'm a fapper," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, your hotel cleaning staff."
Please don't talk to my wife that way.
Yeah, your hotel cleaning staff is gonna have something to say about that, sir. But
remember we had a whole conversation last week about how to talk to females in the game. So
Please
maybe not talking about fapping.
I'm a fapper.
Yeah.
Despite the meme, let's keep referring to yourself as a fapper in Discord.
But so at that point, like, honestly, it's weird to me. Jordan's only been playing this game for 18 minutes. And
or 7 years, depending on what day you ask me.
Yeah, what day you ask. I've been playing it. I think I first bought into any of it in July, and I feel as welcome as I ever did playing any other game. It didn't take long, and I don't know what else to say. It just feels so good, and honestly, being able to do this with 2 great people and wonderful drinking buddies is all I could ask for. Like, honestly, so. I guess that's where I'm at. I just want to keep going, keep making content people want, and keep having hopefully a positive impact on the community.
Yeah.
Abby,
so for me, so I do one goal every year. I have for the longest time, and it's to read 52 books. I try to read a book a week. I read nonstop all the time. If you ever meet me at a tournament and I'm not playing, I'm probably reading in the meantime. But with the podcast and this game, like, I'm really excited for 2022. I know that like Indy is on our list with the SCG con, and then seeing the Farewell to Wraith events and kind of getting all that stuff. And I'm really excited. I just want to go and have fun. I don't care about winning or cashing or any of that. I just want to go and play this game and see my friends. But for the podcast, I'm really excited. I was super skeptical about doing a podcast because I hate hearing myself talk. So I was like very like, okay, we'll do it. No one's going to listen. And then we've had a really good turnout so far. And like, I'm just really excited to like keep doing this and see like how we can grow it. You guys are great. Keep being great.
I think
and tell me that I'm better than everyone.
Well, you are, because part of the point of having Abby here is that she hates to hear herself talk exactly as much as Jordan and I love to hear ourselves talk.
Yeah.
So
that was actually the when we talked about this at the call-in in Cincinnati, it goes, we need literally another person to, like, we can't have 3 of us. And we were out to dinner with that. It was you, me, and Abby at dinner, and we both kind of just looked at Abby, and Abby was like, "God damn it! Like I've been co-opted for this, and I don't like it."
Random brewery, pretty good brewery too. Rheingeist in Cincinnati, and it was one of those, like, Abby. I think I actually said, "I'm not doing this without her," and you're like, "Oh, 100%," and Abby's like, "Fuck me." Oh
yeah!
I thought I was gonna go through an entire episode without dropping an F-bomb, and there I did it.
Not even close. Yeah, not even close.
So close.
All right.
No. Yeah.
You done?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Got him.
So our giveaway. We never heard from a Cynical Dragon, so we are going to move the box. So Luciferous Spirit. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's really
okay.
good.
AKA Ben. If you are listening, please shoot us a message on Discord or Twitter or email verifying it's you, and we will get that deck box out to you. A Cynical Dragon, if you do hear this within the next week or so, hit us up. We'll get something to you, but we want to get this moving so that we can start with the next giveaway. Our next giveaway is going to be a rainbow foil Courage of Bladehold. And that is unlimited, correct?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, we're not giving away
Okay.
cold foils up in here for Majestics.
Well, you know,
Not yet.
not yet. But
I have stuff. We can get there eventually, but not yet.
2022 goal, right there. So to enter, go to our Twitter at FleshPod and like and retweet the pinned tweet and follow us. And then we will announce the winner on the January 18th episode. So be on the lookout for that. The tweet is already out, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So, do that and you will be entered. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can like us on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter. Did I do Twitter already?
Yeah,
Twitter.
that's fine. Twitter's great.
You can follow me on Twitter. Somebody followed me today, and as a person that doesn't tweet, I was very excited about it. So my personal Twitter is AbbyD83. It is tagged in the FleshPod Twitter overview note section thing. If you don't do any of those things, you can email us at fleshandpod@gmail.com. Jordan, what's your Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at I'm Jerman. That's IMJORMAN. That's easily the best place to get a hold of me on the internet. Or if you're in our Discord, I have my DMs open to people I share Discords with. So that is a great place to get a hold of me as well.
In the DMs.
Same with me, Logan Peterson on Twitter. That's PETERSEN. Eventually, I'm going to be able to stop saying it, but that's where to find me on Twitter. And again on the Discord. We are very active, and my DMs are open to people I share Discords with. So feel free to slide into my DMs.
In the DMs. I think of that song every time I hear it.
Yeah, and so far it's been everybody's been rather civil, so nothing that I've had to really deal with as of yet, which is nice. But yeah, we're pretty easy to find, I think. So I guess please keep hopping in the Discord. The conversations have been fun, active, and good natured. So
yes. Tell us you love us. Tell us you hate us. I mean, whatever. We're open to it.
Yeah,
just let us know.
This wouldn't be the first time in my life I've been hated. So I mean,
exactly. All right. Well, that is episode 5. So going on episode forever.
Hope so.
I know, me too. Thank you for listening, friends. Reach out to us if you have anything, and if not, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.